Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Business Power Hour with Darren, Dimples, and the Music Man. Me. Hey, Dimps.
Hey, Mr. Music Man. How you doing this evening?
What's going on?
How are you?
Well, good. What's up? Two ladies. This is a true story. These two ladies at a network meeting came over to me, and he said, your show was really good, but we missed Dimple.
I'm absolutely convinced. I'm absolutely convinced that you got some kind of brain damage when you had that thing last year.
I'm telling you that, and he called.
Not classy, but classy.
Seeing interviews by Darren and the Music Man. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Siafe and Norman Wasserman.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. And this is our last Wednesday edition of the Business Power Hour because we are shifting to Tuesdays.
Starting next week, we are going to be here Tuesday. I shouldn't bang
And yes, Darren will be here on Tuesdays too,
yes,
not just
I
Wednesdays.
will be here, just not the Music Man.
He just wasn't around. Where were you last week?
I actually went up to Vermont to work with some great people in the Air Force to do some mountain flying training, so mountain search and rescue. So I was actually an instructor, so I actually had a great time.
He flies. But so you didn't do, I thought you were going to be doing the air show.
Actually, no, I did not do the air show. Me personally did not do the air show, but my team was there. My team was there.
By the way, for those of you that don't know what the heck we're talking about, Darren is an officer in the Civil Air Patrol.
Yes, I am an officer in the Civil Air
And that's
Patrol.
why he was up in Massachusetts. Is that what you were?
No, I was up in Vermont.
Same
I
difference.
was up in Vermont.
Somewhat.
And we're having some technical difficulties right now, which I don't know why, which I think is you're working, not working. I'm not sure.
I'm working. Am I working?
No,
Can you hear me?
the camera's not working on the other setup because tonight we actually have somebody in studio and we have a camera issue. So, Norm, take the show for about a minute. Let me see if I can fix
do
this.
that.
All right.
We have a guest who's going to probably
It was working a second ago.
probably hypnotize us as we're speaking, and that's what the nature of what my friend Mark Siegel's business is all about. You're going to, Mark, say hello to the world out there watching you.
Hello to the world out there watching us.
Hey, so we can hear you fine, Mark. We just can't see you. So we're working on that right now. And
So as we're taking care of that, what is the name of your company?
New York Institute of Hypnosis.
And what does New York Institute of Hypnosis, if anyone doesn't understand what it is, what do you do?
Well, we help people individually, but mainly now we're focused more on teaching hypnosis. We have everything from conversational hypnosis for salespeople and coaches, and full certification if someone wants to help people make changes in their life.
So wait a second. If I want to learn how to hypnotize people, I can come to you and you'll teach me how to hypnotize people.
Exactly.
So basically, I won't have to deal with this.
We know this is going to come.
So, we can make Norm do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Norm, you got to come back into the shot.
But it probably wouldn't take hypnosis to get him to do any crazy stuff.
I once was on stage and they made me act like a chicken. You know, it's not a duck, but we were talking before about duck.
Right,
but actually it was, I was up in the Catskills when I was a kid. Yeah, doing that kind of stuff. So how did you get into this? What made you get into, first of all, why have you changed from having people lose weight and stop smoking and doing all the things that we hear about through hypnosis? What made you do the change?
Well, I've been doing this for about 25 years. And there's
Hypnotism?
only so many people that I can help individually.
You just lost the camera.
I didn't knock it
So,
Okay.
keep going, Mark. Keep going.
Show.
So,
I want you to keep that in mind.
yeah. Okay. This is fun.
This is live. This is the way it works in the studio. Okay.
So there's only so many people that I can help personally.
Right.
And if I can teach people, which I do, then they can help a lot more people. So I'm kind of like taking the model that I've created over the years that works for people.
And you're trying to get
And I'm
groups.
duplicating that by getting more people doing it. So I've never really done groups other than in corporate situations.
Well, this is what I'm saying. So this is why, one of the reasons why you made a change. Because if you're going to teach one, you can teach a group at the same time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying I've done the actual hypnosis on people one-on-one for stop smoking. I've helped over 2,000 people stop smoking.
That's crazy.
And I've helped a lot of people lose weight, get rid of fears and phobias, just relax in general.
Did you ever go to a hypnotist? Have you ever gone to a hypnotist?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
That's part of learning it, actually. That's really cool. I'm like a trance junkie when it comes to hypnosis. I love it, any chance I get. So.
Well, why was it that you went? What did you want to do?
So I learned hypnosis as a secondary thing. I used to have a cabinet shop, and I made the mistake of taking on a partner. And
So wait a second.
Partner.
So before you were hypnotizing people,
Yeah,
right?
You were a cabinet
You were a
maker.
cabinet maker.
exactly.
Like kitchen cabinets and
Yeah,
stuff
all
like that?
kinds of cabinets and millwork and high-end architectural stuff. So, yeah.
Did you go to
it's
school
a
for
cool
that?
Profession. No, I didn't. I just jumped in and started doing it. I learned from somebody, and then I learned from my employees, actually. I hired people that knew how to make cabinets, and I watched what they did, and they taught me some stuff, and then I learned eventually. But when I split with my partner, I went to work with someone else, and unfortunately, while I was working there, I cut my finger on the table saw.
On the table saw?
Yeah, because
That
I
hurts.
got some bad news from my lawyer about money that my ex-partner wasn't
true?
paying me. Yeah. And so I realized everything I did to make money involved using my hands. And a friend of a friend was talking to me about a marketing business that he had. And he's like, listen, come in with me and I'll teach you how to teach people to sell. And, he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, but I had always been selling cabinets and everything like that. So I knew sales. I just never knew that I had the ability to train other salespeople. So he hands me a stack of books, all the classics, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Power of Positive Thinking, How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling. And I devoured these books. I literally devoured these books because if you've ever read any of those, they're about you, as they were about me, as they are about anyone who reads them. They're written in such a way that it's like you can read a chapter and learn a skill and apply it instantly. And I love when you can do that. So it led me to study accelerated learning, a course called photo reading.
Okay, so what's photo reading?
So you can read as fast as you can turn the pages. You take a mental photograph of the page. But the guy who taught it also taught a process called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. So
that I've heard of, right?
Neuros are five senses, the way we take in information. Linguistics is language, the way that we process or make sense of it. And programming is the patterns or the habits that come from that. So if you change any one of the two, if you change any one of them, it affects the other two. And, the person who taught that also taught hypnosis. So he had a specialty class on NLP for marketing, and I was teaching people marketing.
So you were teaching people marketing through hypnosis?
No, through the my friend that brought me on to train salespeople. So he was doing more of the marketing end. I was doing more with the salespeople. And when I started with him, I couldn't speak in front of a group of one.
You were that shy?
Yeah, I was literally that shy. And I have a recording of like one of the first times I spoke, which was like,
It kind of sounds like him all the time.
I can't even listen to it. It was so annoying.
That's what he says. He can't listen to me.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to work on him a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can help me with him.
You can't. I'm a knucklehead.
Yeah.
By the way, did you ever work on knuckleheads?
Yeah, I've worked on knuckleheads.
Oh, yeah, good. So maybe we should have an appointment. He's going to pay for it. So
Oh, yeah.
you don't take
of course.
insurance.
Work with doctors,
So if he wants to make sure that I get cured,
Right,
he'll
exactly.
pay for it. I mean, the guy just bought a house on the
No,
South
I
Shore.
didn't buy a house.
Like a mansion.
That could be a whole new niche for me, hypnosis for knuckleheads,
Oh, my
that could be
God.
good. That could be a new genre.
This guy is
Whatever. He
unbelievable.
sold his house with his staples and his horses and his race car
Yeah, okay.
in the North Shore, and then he moved to the South
Yeah,
Shore. Just
okay.
what was it? Monday?
No,
This past Monday,
I
the
moved-
first?
Well, first of all, I moved over the weekend, and I want to give
Please.
a big shout out to Zipbox.
There's Zipbox.
Those guys did a fantastic job in moving me yesterday. You know, and it was unbelievable how fast they were able to get it done and how professional.
Well, you had the
they
whole
were.
company there. What do you want?
Well, you know, they love me, so.
Of course.
But anyway,
horses. Say now, Chris
nine
is
horses.
saying
Yeah,
nine.
Chris,
Yeah, nine
big,
horses.
big shout out to Chris Gannon, who was just stirring the pot. And no, I moved into a 55 and older community. So I live in a townhouse
whole community.
now. I don't live in a house. So.
You live in Long
Not as
Island?
young as we used to be.
But I do have a garage.
Yes,
I
it does.
put
You walk in right from the house, right from the garage. You can walk into the house.
I walk right through the garage to the
My
house.
garage isn't like that.
I got a.
Because I can,
Yeah,
Rob
no.
used the horses to move his stuff.
Chris is funny.
That's it.
Chris is
No,
funny.
Tony said
Anyway.
something funny. Chris should sit down and talk with you. He could use. a
Yeah,
little
you
help.
could. Yeah,
Chris
definitely.
Gannon, you should definitely get a hold of Mark Siegel.
So Mark, okay, you're a cabinet maker. You decided, okay, you got all of this bad news about what your partner was doing to you, right? And so now it was time to make a change.
Yeah, I cut my finger.
Oh, you
That
cut your
was a
finger,
big
so
wake-up
you're
call.
really, you couldn't
I wanted
really
to-
do it.
You know, my friend's friend said start using your head to make money rather than your hands.
Right. Yeah, and that's when you started reading all these
Yeah,
books.
Right.
You learned about NLP, right?
Right.
You know, and you said, okay, I can do this. So when was the first time you actually hypnotized somebody?
Well, I mean, you do it back and forth in class.
Did it
but,
scare the crap out of you?
Yeah. No, it was actually fun. And the first class I took was literally, it was a 3-day class.
Okay.
And the end of the first day, you're hypnotizing people. I was amazed at how fast you could learn it. You know, I thought it was like some gift that, like, you know, strange people were born with or something like that.
Right.
You know, but it's actually a very learnable skill. And that's what got me hooked on wanting to teach it, was because of how big of a transformation it made for me to learn how to use it. But
Can everybody be hypnotized?
I haven't
Oh,
found
there are
one that
people-
couldn't. If a person has enough intelligence to know their own name, they can be hypnotized. So, you know,
Wait a second. Wait, if they have enough intelligence to know their own name, so you're out.
That's intelligence. I'm trying to figure it out. What is this? Pick on Norman tonight?
I just pick on.
Oh boy, you're sorry.
I haven't
wrong
seen
guy.
you in almost. I haven't seen you in 2 weeks.
Oh,
So you know, I
God.
gotta make up for it.
All right, I'm warming up here.
But no, all kidding aside. So basically, you say you can hit. Now, I've heard that if people have a strong enough will, right, and they know they're trying to be hypnotized, like somebody's trying to hypnotize, they can resist it. Is that true?
to a degree.
So why would they do it if they're going to resist it?
Right. So people come to me because they want to make changes in their
course.
life. So
Okay.
they're not really resisting it.
Right.
So, but there's two parts to the mind. There's their conscious mind and their unconscious mind. So a lot of
Okay.
people, you know, especially like if they want to stop smoking or something like that, their
Mhm.
conscious mind says, hey, I want to stop, you know, and,
Right.
and if it was just up to their conscious mind, that would be it. They'd say, hey, I want to quit. That's it. They're done.
Right.
But the unconscious mind perceives some benefit that it can only get from smoking or the act of smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Like it relaxes them, or it relieves stress, or it gives them something to do, or it gives them a break in their day, or, you know, it stops any cravings for food after they eat a meal. That's why a lot of people smoke.
Well, let
after
me
meals.
ask you. So, do you just do smoking, or do you do eating too? I mean, is it any kind of thing?
Yeah, it's any habit that a person wants to change. Hypnosis is one of the oldest and best known ways to repattern the unconscious mind to change those habits.
So, if you got
So
somebody who is just inherently a wise ass, right?
I see where you're going.
And he
with
can't help himself. Okay, you could help them change the way that they go about it. You know, he just.
Are you setting up an appointment for
So
yourself?
No, I'm setting up an appointment for my
there's
cousin
a really
John.
cool part of
So,
there's a like NLP and hypnosis have a lot of overlap. The NLP is more conversational or
Right.
What does NLP stand for?
neuro linguistic
he
programming.
said that before.
Yeah, well, I
Right.
wasn't paying attention. I'm a knucklehead.
So part of one of the developers of NLP came up with a process that's called sleight of mouth. So you know how magician uses sleight of hand?
Right.
So the sleight of mouth are a series of language patterns to help people make a shift in their beliefs.
Okay.
And some of it can be instant. I've helped people get rid of fears and phobias in less than 5 minutes, just conversationally.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, there are simplistic things that hypnotists are kind of like known for. We should talk about the dieting and smoking. What is the strangest thing that someone ever came to you and asked you for help? Not that you cured them, or maybe you did, but what was the strangest thing they asked you to do?
So the strangest one, I actually didn't work with the person because I think they were full of it. But this guy calls me up and he asked me if I can hypnotize him to make him feel like a woman.
Oh boy.
Right. So I consulted with the president of the American Board of Hypnotherapy.
You did that?
Yeah, I know.
That's why you were in here for 2 weeks?
Wow. Wow. You're
So-
out of your
So I
mind.
consulted with the American Board of Hypnotherapy, right? The president at the time, Richard Neves, and he told me, "Is the guy going to pay you?" And I said, "He offered me 10 grand," and he goes, "I'll split it with you if you want." He goes, "There's nothing wrong with
But how
doing
do you-
that." He goes,
But how do you do that?
there was
So were you successful?
there was a psychotherapist who shared an office in the wellness center that I was in at the time. And she, I asked her, I said, like, what would that be like, right? She goes, "I'm a woman and I don't know what it feels like to be a woman. Like, how would someone know that they feel like a woman?"
Well, how
She
would
doesn't
you
know anything different.
But
She is a
the
woman.
guy set an appointment and he never came in. So,
So what I'm saying is-
but that was definitely the strangest
How would you even?
request.
Okay, so let me take a step back here. First of all, Mark.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Okay, they can reach me by phone at 631-501-1406. That's 631-501-1406. Or by email at relax, RELAX, at NYIH.org.
Cool.
Okay, great. All right, so
And as a bonus, if you send me an email and say that you saw me on this show, I will send you an audio that's entitled Relax, Envision, Succeed. It's a general motivational goal setting, semi-hypnotic CD. So don't listen to it while driving. I've never gotten any negative feedback.
But they have
from
to
it.
say that they were
Right.
watching on the Business Power
That's
Hour in order to
fantastic.
get that, right?
So-
Just mention that you're watching on the Business Power Hour, and I will gladly send you that audio that I normally sell for $25.
So there you go. It's a $25 value. Get it today. So reach out. Okay. Again, go to relax at NYIH.org. Right. Shoot Mark over an email today or 631-501-1406. And he will get you that and mention that you saw him on the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, and you will get a free audio.
Did you ever hypnotize someone that didn't know they were being hypnotized?
I probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying nothing illegally, but
No.
Nothing illegal. No, so here's the thing, and Darren asked this before, can someone be hypnotized against their will? And I said, not really. So I'm not going to hypnotize someone to do something against their morals, because that's a deep unconscious filter, right? But you see stage hypnosis, and there are people up there, swirling their butts like they're a washing machine, and all kinds of silly stuff like that. So, but those are the people that you give them a couple of drinks at a party, they're going to be one with the lampshade on their head, and probably if you just asked them to come up on stage and be silly, they would. But they're really hypnotized because they're going along with the suggestion. So the definition of hypnosis is when you make a suggestion to someone and they accept that suggestion without any critical analysis, meaning they're accepting it directly into their conscious and their unconscious mind simultaneously.
your
And then they're acting
degrees
upon it.
that you have, besides going to become a hypnotist, that's a special school, obviously. Did you have an education in psychology or psychiatric medicine or anything like that at all? You just cut your finger and said, "Screw it, I'm going to be a hypnotist."
Yeah, I mean, there's more of a certification process for the NLP. So my first class in hypnosis was actually part of the NLP certification as a practitioner. And then I went on to get certified as a master practitioner of NLP and then a trainer of NLP.
Okay, so So really what you're saying is that the whole piece of the hypnosis is not just going to a 3-day course, right? Which is what you said, that was your initial thing. You
Well,
went
the
to a 3-day course.
certification just for hypnosis, I mean, I teach it in 4 days. I teach it in 2 weekends.
All right.
And people walk out of there with skill that they can use. They can actually go out and start hypnotizing people, charging them money. It's not a licensed profession in New York at this time.
Okay.
Now, why is that? Because there is a tendency for people to be dishonest and do things that are not right.
There's pluses and minuses for it being licensed, and when it is, anyone that's done my training will be grandfathered into that. But I don't,
Well, what's the pros of not being licensed versus? I mean, I can figure out the other.
Someone with a lot of skill can get out there and start helping people right away without taking, tens of years of schooling.
Well, that would be how you get your license.
When they do my certification, part of the process is I'm testing them all along the way to make sure not only that they have the skill to do the hypnosis, but that they also have the integrity to do it with the right intentions. So
that's where the shady part comes in.
Right. I mean, there are people out there that have taught some very interesting classes with hypnosis. How to pick up members of the opposite sex. Kind of like what Darren was leading at earlier.
Or the same sex.
People knowing about it. Yeah. Or same sex or whatever. Any one of the multiples of types of genders there are these days.
So if I was single again, you could teach me how to walk into a bar, whatever it may be, and pick up this beautiful brunette or a brunette. It doesn't have to be beautiful.
So what it is,
a brunette.
And this is what I love about the foundation of NLP was that it was a way of modeling excellence. So really hypnosis can play into that you can use certain tools and techniques that people use. So people that walk into a bar without knowing any of these techniques go in and pick up members of the opposite sex.
Are any of these techniques things that people do subconsciously all the time?
Yeah.
And it's just refining them and honing those skills?
Right. Even hypnosis is a very natural state that we go in and out of every 45 to 90 minutes.
Really?
So it's, if you've ever been staring at the TV and, someone walks in and goes, Darren. It's like, you were there, but you weren't really there. That's kind of like, a hypnotic trance.
Well,
so to say.
How do you know that versus I can't hear you?
I'm sorry?
I didn't hear you versus is that why I didn't hear you? Because I was in his hypnotic state?
That's what you're saying.
Right.
I'm asking.
Yeah. You're in what I call the TV trance. You're so focused on it that you're not paying attention to any outside sound.
Kind of like in the beginning of the show when you were talking about NLP and he wasn't paying attention.
Right. He tranced out on us, right?
That's right. But that's true.
Maybe that was hypnotizing him without him knowing it. Even who knows?
What? Where are we?
What's going on?
So my mentor gives a talk on hypnosis, and he says, "I'm going to do a class on hypnotic memory loss." Okay, so how'd you all enjoy the first 15 minutes of the class?
So what a great tool for sales. And you can sit down and talk to a group of people or individuals that you're selling a product or service, whatever it may be, and actually talk to them and get them to agree with you and sign a contract and do whatever it may be just by having a conversation.
Yeah.
That's worth taking the course just to be a salesperson and know the ins and outs, literally.
Well, there are certain things that can be done called anchoring, right? Which is like a Pavlovian response. Like Pavlov, would give a dog some food behind a grate. The dog would salivate and he'd ring a bell. Give dog food, dog salivates, ring a bell. Give dog food, dog salivates, ring a bell. Give dog food, dog salivates, ring a bell. After a while, he could ring the bell and the dog would salivate. He wouldn't need the original food anymore, right? It makes no sense that ringing a bell would make a dog salivate, but unconsciously the dog made that association.
Right. Well, that's how you train dogs.
So we have all kinds of habits and behaviors that we get triggered by. We have a response to some sort of trigger, right? But these can be set up intentionally, right? So salespeople, the classic sales technique is to set up what's called a yes set. So they get the person saying yes multiple times. But if they did some gesture like hold their hand up like this every time they said yes, or every time they wanted something positive, they could hold their hand up like this. And every time it was something negative that they wanted to reject, they could make a motion like this. Then even if they're not saying anything about it, the client or the potential person who's being sold to is picking up on that on an unconscious level. So these are kind of semi-subliminal. Like if you're watching, it's not subliminal, it's very overt, but it's covert in its overtness because people don't pay attention to necessarily gestures. But then when you say, okay, so you're ready to buy, and then you make the gesture yes, their unconscious mind goes, oh, that's my yes signal, right? So they respond in kind to that.
No, it's interesting that you say that because I don't intentionally do that, but I talk a lot with my hands.
Right.
When I'm in a sales meeting, it's like I talk a lot with my hands, and I listen a lot and repeat back to the potential buyer the same things that they're telling me.
Right.
Am I
so
doing some form of what it is that you're mentioning?
So without seeing what you're doing, I don't know if your hand motions are intentional or they're consistent. So what I teach salespeople to do, and this was something that I learned early on, was to intentionally have a yes gesture and intentionally have a no gesture that become universal. So this is yes, this is towards the future, this is positive,
all the positive stuff,
adding
right.
stuff in their life. Okay, this is negative, this is getting rid of, this is no, right? And then it's naturally when I'm talking, I'll say, hey, is this something you'd like to do? Is that a bad habit you want to get rid of?
Right.
It's just natural gestures to me that I've ingrained in myself. And this is one of the things that I teach to people so that they can be more intentional with their language. So NLP wasn't so much created as it was observed, that people use certain ways of language to influence people and ideally influence them with a level of integrity that creates win-win scenarios.
Now, you went to class, you got certified, whatever. Have you added some things to your program that you learned from experience that you weren't taught?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things, and I've learned bits and pieces of it, but it's really how I've combined things together. So I've created a program called Designing the Ultimate You. So I work with individuals, business owners, salespeople, anyone who wants to, set more than just a goal, but like an outcome or a vision for the direction that their life is going in. It's just because I've owned several businesses, I tend to work with business owners, and they tend to have their whole life kind of out of balance in a lot of ways. Like
so this is
either they're working all the time or they're spending time with their family, but they don't always have time for fun and recreation.
So they don't have a life balance, and that's what you're kind of helping them.
Harmony in the different areas of their life.
That's a great time for one more. You know what I want you to do, Mark? Tell everybody if they can get a hold of you, because that's a great topic and great transition.
Right.
Because now I got a ton of questions. Right? If they want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Right. So they can call me at 631-501-1406. That's 631-501-1406. They can email me at relax@nyih.org. That's RELAX@nyih.org. And speaking of that whole life balance, the audio that I'm going to be giving them, if they mention that they were at the Business Power Hour, is about that. It's Relax, Envision, Succeed, and it helps them to create harmony between all 10 areas of life.
You seem very relaxed. This is your normal nature, right?
That's it.
This is me. This is me speaking one-on-one. This is me speaking to 2,000 people. This is me.
All right.
Actually,
We're going to take a quick break, Mark.
Hold that thought.
Hold that thought. When we come back, we're going to talk about how relaxed Mark is. Not only that, but how he actually helps small business owners create that life balance. We'll be back right after these messages.
Stay tuned.
Pachera aquata, also known as the money tree, is a tree that flourishes in the tropical rainforest. Unlike other trees, it depends on 5 separate trunks to prosper, each one bringing its own share of water and nutrients to the leaves. Like the money tree, your business has many different trunks that need your attention. Sales, marketing, finance, operations, and culture. Fail to cultivate any one of these and the whole tree collapses. I understand this better than anyone else, which is why I developed My Prosperity Tree, a program designed to address all of these areas, not just 1 or 2. We help you identify who you are as a company, define your direction, and assist with developing the systems that will enable you to scale your business the most efficient and effective way, allowing your company to bloom into your own prosperity tree. So plant your tree today by visiting myprosperitytree.com or call us at 844-987-CBMS. That's 844-987-2267.
Yeah, you did.
Welcome back, everybody, to Business Power.
That's my line. All right, fine. Go ahead. Continue.
You're sleeping again.
I'm not sleeping.
No, we were involved in a very. You know what? You know what's nice about having you in the studio, Mark, is that when we have guests actually come in through the internet, when we go to commercial, we can't talk to them, so we can't have that conversation that we had during the commercial break. Talking about my cousin and he's a knucklehead and and he really needs your help, but that's beside the point.
He didn't answer after you told him.
I know he didn't answer.
I think he got insulted.
He started out with the officer ha 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 thing, but that's John.
At least he turned in.
Anyway, actually, Memorial Day was this past weekend, and obviously we want to say, all our prayers for everybody that gave their lives for our country, and all our vets that are, who've given up so much for everybody. I also want to give a quick shout out to my nephew Josh. Who's he's out deployed right now, not overseas, but they're on a training exercise, so he's not with Heather. So actually,
Heather,
they're going to be coming out this summer, so we're gonna get a Heather on the air with us. But that's beside the point. Anyway, I digress. So before the break, Mark was talking about relaxing and life balance with business owners. And Mark, I'm a business coach. Right, of what I call myself, a business growth strategist. I'm an accountant by trade, but what I do is I work with small business owners on how to create that balance, not only in their business but in their lives. Very similar to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to know, how do you do that with business owners? And how do you approach them? With, okay, I'm going to get you life balance. How do we do that?
Right. So a lot of people over the years have come to me that they've read the book Think and Grow Rich, and they're like, do you have a program that's like Think and Grow Rich? And I've, as I mentioned earlier, I've read all of those books, and I kind of compiled the best of. And Think and Grow Rich was actually one of the first NLP modeling projects, even though they didn't call it that. But what Napoleon Hill did was he observed how people created this excellence of wealth in their life and success in all areas of their life. So it's really got that balance built into it, not just success in career or finances, but fun and recreation and lifestyle and where they live and all of that. So my program is actually helping people to create a vision using NLP processes and hypnosis to install that vision so that they're compelled to move in that direction.
Is that because you're digging into their subconscious? Because one of the struggles I have when I'm working with a business owner is, we talk about vision and what they do. Is one of the things that, you talked about it before about never getting somebody to do something against their principles. Right. So one of the things that I teach is something called immutable laws, right? Mutable laws, by definition, are things that are immovable. You're not going to move. You're not going to change. It's who you are. Right. So what I try to do is I try to dig down into somebody's immutable, the things that they would not violate regardless. Okay, because a lot of companies, they come up with their I don't want to say their goals, their I even forget the wording.
Well,
now.
this is not about a business vision. This is their personal vision for their whole life, including their business.
Well, that's what Immutable Laws is about.
Most small business owners, especially on Long Island and I guess all over even nowadays, small business owners, it's them and maybe a handful of employees, but their business is highly dependent upon their attitude. If they're in a great mood, their business is doing great that day.
But
it's not.
But Mark, that's every business, right? And that's what I'm talking about. Immutable laws are things that person won't violate, whether it's personal or business.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not just digging into business. I'm digging into both. And the reason why I do that is for exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is that it gives them that balance, because once they understand who they are, then from a business perspective, it creates a whole nother atmosphere, right? Yeah. So, you can go on to companies, like say you create a company, like an entertainment company, and you say, okay, I got an entertainment company now. And what a lot of people do is, let me go to other entertainment companies that I'm trying to emulate or compete against and see what they put out there as their vision and what they do. And they kind of copy it, but it's not really who they are, right?
Right.
So how do you dig into somebody like that? How do you get them to open up? And I'm interested to know, because I want to utilize.
Like most coaching, it's done through questions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the basis of NLP, is questions that are designed to create what's called a transderivational search.
Okay.
So it's not just a question that you answer consciously off the top of your mind, but it's one of those questions where you say, hey, that's a really great question.
Mm-hmm.
There's ways of exploring the same issue in different ways. Like one is called Cartesian coordinates, which is, if you remember back to algebra,
right?
Geometry.
It sounds complicated.
Cartesian coordinates is, so there's plus, minus, minus plus, and minus, right? The crosshairs, right? So there's 4 quadrants. So when you do that with questioning, so the first question would be, what will happen if you get what you want? The next question will be, what won't happen if you get what you want? And then what will happen if you don't get what you want? And the fun one is, what won't happen if you don't get what you want?
Okay.
So
let me interrupt you one
those
second.
questions might not seem very hypnotic, but when you ask those in the right way to a person,
they become
for business, and they have a goal or an outcome that they want, they're really gonna start searching.
Gets the gears going, right?
The answer.
Let's get the phone number out there in case anybody has become hypnotized and want to say that it's working. 631-619-7500. 631-619-7500. Call in. Let's put Mark to the task, and let's see if they can hypnotize you over the phone.
Right. We see what
you want to ask a question.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't mean to cut you off.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the world and COVID and the election and all the problems that have happened. There go my hands again. Over the last 16 months.
Right.
Have you been busy?
Actually.
So people have had issues which they can't deal with. Right. And they've come to you, they've reached out to you. Example, some situations and how you've taken care of it.
Right. So first off, I met up with an associate at a training in July of 2019, so about 9 months before the whole world shut down. And we started doing classes together. He's in Arizona. We started doing classes together on Zoom. So we're a little bit ahead of the curve on that. But then in March of 2020, when everything shut down, I was working with another friend of mine who's a hypnotherapist in California. She's also a registered nurse. And we started writing a script because we were going to give out a free hypnosis audio to help people stay calm and stay healthy. Unfortunately, as a registered nurse working in a hospital, she started working triple shifts. I couldn't even get her on her cell phone. So I'm like, okay, we're not going to be able to do this together. And I said, rather than me make a recording, I offered a live Zoom meditation once a week. So it was like a class.
Individually, but a class.
Yeah, it was a class, but it was a guided hypnotic meditation at the end. So it was like 50-50. And the first one was actually called Stay Calm, Stay Healthy. And it was my way of just getting the word out there that there's two parts to the virus, that anyone, will realize that there's the physical virus that people were actually worried about getting, but then there was also the fear, right? And what fear does is fear compromises your immune system. Fear turns your alkaline body fluids into acid, and it makes you more subject to disease of any kind. So just staying calm helps people to stay healthy, and that was really the preface of that first class. And that went on, I did about 19 of them, maybe 20 of them.
How many people attended in each group? With 10 people, 30 people?
We had, it varied each week because it was every week. So, the intention was for people to start inviting people, and I was hoping that it would grow to 100. It never got quite to 100. I think we had, maybe 40 or 50
That's nice.
On a regular basis. But at the end, it started to dwindle down because people were like, okay, enough with this already.
Did you use your right hand and your left hand to get people to sign up?
Yeah. But,
You'll use the right.
I did it. I didn't charge for it because I wanted to put something out there that would help people. It was my way of giving back. I was busy enough with my own private practice, making money. I charge well for what I do. And, but my intention was to help more people that wouldn't necessarily do something if they had to pay for it. And it was, people were stuck home.
You helped.
So, they got to watch something an hour and a half each week that kind of reset them to be calm. Because I stayed calm through the whole thing. And, but I see people today,
Okay, so let's
I saw a woman. I saw a woman driving her car with a mask.
Let's talk about that for a
and
second.
gloves by herself in the car. To me, that's a little bit over the top.
Well,
A lot of people did that,
There are
though.
a lot of people still like that, and a lot of people won't go anywhere without their mask and that. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's back up just a hair. So one of the things that I've seen a lot is people getting what I call cabin fever, right? From COVID. Always being inside, always not going anywhere, not interacting. And I think that's part of what's going on right now with this craziness. And you hear with the NBA playoffs, these people are acting very inappropriately and all this other stuff. It's almost like they've never been in public before, right? Do you think that's part of this not being able to relax and being all pent up, and now all of a sudden the floodgates are open? Is this something that we should be worried about? And is this something that you can teach people how to deal with?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of questions in there.
Yeah.
So the first thing, should people be worried about it? I can't really answer that from the basis of what I do, because, in my world, you shouldn't worry about anything really. But the whole thing is that people have resources within them, and when they use those resources resourcefully, then they can act appropriately in any situation. So if they're kind of pulled back and then shooting out of the gate, then that's up to them to control their choices of how they act and react to certain situations. So one of the things that I actually teach people is, an event happens and then they react, kind of like that bell ringing and the dog salivates, right?
Right.
But in between the bell ringing and the dog salivating, if you can make a little bit of space, then that creates the opportunity for choice, right? And as a coach, I'm sure you know that when you help your clients make better choices, then they can improve those areas of their life by making better choices.
As a coach, we never tell them what they should do. We always try to lead them to find the answer on their own.
Right. So they're making their own choices. And the same way is that, these people are creating kind of an internal representation of being free in the world now. And that, if that is some sort of crazy action or reaction or whatever, I don't know that anything can stop that per se, other than educating people on how to utilize the power of their unconscious mind rather than let it run them.
Have people contacted you wanting to get out of the house but can't get out of the house because mentally they can't do it? I'm going, not personally, but in my business, I'm facing that now because everybody wanted live concerts. Can't wait. Can't watch even a live show on the internet. Can't watch it. Now that they're open, now they can't go because they're afraid to sit next to somebody or in the same room as other people that are going to be there. So
right. So there's a whole atmosphere of fear.
Right.
And that fear, is really what people need to overcome. So, and you were asking what's different about my coaching. So one of the things that I do is I do what's called time techniques, where people can go back on their timeline and release negative emotions. So there's 5 basic negative emotions that people hold on to. And it could be from early childhood or, even during or before birth, depending upon people's beliefs. Some people say it comes from past lives or it's passed down genealogically or whatever. But even just staying in this lifetime, in the first, 5 or 7 years of a person's life, they form beliefs that could lead to limiting decisions. And those are based on negative emotions. So the first one is anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. Okay. Guilt is the funniest one because it's the quickest one to release, not just because it's the last one. But I had this woman who said, I'm like, was guilt, if you trace your guilt back, does it come from before, during, or after birth, right? And she goes, oh, definitely before birth. And I go, was it from a past life or genealogically? And she goes, genealogically. And I said, okay, so how many generations back? She's like, I think it goes all the way back to Stonehenge. She goes, yeah, like one of my ancestors was the guy like leveling the stone, and it was slightly off level, but he didn't tell anybody, right? So it's been
that's
like,
guilt.
That guilt has been passed down for generations.
And they talk.
So
always.
I said, I'm Jewish. I can relate.
Well, it's Jewish or Italian. It's the same
it.
guilt
It's
that
the
gets
same
passed on.
How does a Jewish mother change a light bulb? It's okay. I'll sit here in the dark.
Okay.
Guilt, right?
Very good.
All right. So, Mark, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how could they do that?
They can call me at 631-501-1406. That's 631-501-1406. Or they can email me for a special bonus at relax, RELAX, at NYIH.org. That's relax@NYIH.org. And they will get a bonus of Relax, Envision, Succeed recording to create harmony in all 10 areas of their life.
But they have to mention they saw you right here on the Business Power Hour.
Darren
Absolutely.
and Norman said
That's it.
Darren and the Music Man.
Yeah, that's
Darren
it.
and the Music Man.
Exactly.
Do you have any seminars or anything coming up or your plan for the future that you're going to instruct and or demonstrate?
So, yeah, I'm putting together my calendar now so people can email me at relax@nyih.org to be on the mailing list. And then as soon as the calendar is up, we'll email that out. But I'm going to be teaching a class on fear of public speaking, to release the fear of public speaking. So that would be more like a self class that people, if they want to overcome their own fear.
You know who Mark should meet with?
And
Brian. At the Speakers Bureau.
Brian Cohen is a big
definitely
friend of
logical.
Oh, so you know Brian.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
Brian well, yeah.
So you know Brian.
So Brian is a big fan of us and
Well, he's a
friend.
big friend of ours. He's done
Brian.
a lot for our show, and we love Brian.
Yeah, that's a perfect place for you.
Brian is awesome. I've done years ago, I know Brian originally from Toastmasters, and
He got a haircut today.
Bunch of
Oh,
networking.
did he?
I did.
Yeah, he got a haircut today. Yeah.
He was looking
He's
pretty,
Looking
Cleaning
good,
up.
Brian. Looking good, buddy.
he was
Cleaning
looking
up.
pretty raw out there, but
He was.
it was a good look for him.
Yeah,
though.
it was.
I thought it was a good look. So I haven't
He
seen
was
him
able to
there.
carry it.
But so we taught stuff on on elevator pitch and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Important networking skills and things like that. Yeah, Brian's a great guy.
Yeah, you want somebody to help you market what you do and how you do it. Brian's the guy to help you with that.
Yeah.
He's always been great.
So I'm going to be teaching a class on conversational hypnosis, and I'm also going to be teaching classes maybe about one a month, starting next month. We're going to be teaching hypnosis certification classes for people that want to shift their career or just add to a current career or just learn the skill of hypnosis for fun or even just.
So how long is a hypnosis certification class?
So it's It's partly the class, it's partly reading 2 books and like a take-home test based on that, and then they have to see a client and document it in a very specific way to prove that they know what they're doing.
Okay.
So the class is 2 weekends,
Mm-hmm.
is my basic certification class.
Right.
And people say 2 weekends. They say, yeah, well, we're using accelerated learning techniques using hypnosis to teach the hypnosis. So of course it's going to be faster than your average class, right? Because
So it actually takes
part
like
of it is
four,
actually
it
learned
actually takes like
consciously.
4 weekends, but they only think it's 2 weekends because
Because you hypnotize them. They don't
Going
know
back to my
anything.
mentor's class, how to use hypnosis to make people forget.
Do you do this overseas in Europe, Latin America, South America?
I've actually been teaching all over. As a matter of fact, tonight here, but tomorrow morning there, I'm teaching a class in Australia.
Oh,
Okay.
So it's Wednesday night here, but it's Thursday morning there, teaching an NLP certification course with a good friend of mine who's got a company called Neuromasters Academy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. I'm going to go back to the business owner piece of this thing.
Yeah. Okay.
When you're working with business owners, typically how long is that program? So say I'm a business owner and I need your help, right? Get life balance and stuff. How long typically am I working with you to get that done?
So there's 2 steps to it. The core program, which is more about their personal breakthrough,
Mm-hmm.
which would help them create a vision, help them release limiting beliefs, help them to align with their core values, and discover their decision strategy, fine-tune it, and reinstall their perfectly good decision strategy, and then create a plan of action that includes all 10 areas of their life, short-term, mid-term, and long-term.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would create the ideal state of mind, a really cool process called Circle of Excellence. So it's all the Tony Robbins stuff,
Right.
I feel great, I'm excited, I'm motivated, I'm focused, I'm driven, I'm calm, I'm relaxed.
But see,
but how much time does that take?
So
How long does it
there's
take to
6
do?
elements to it, but it typically takes about 8 or 9 sessions, 1 a week.
Okay.
And that's the
So
core
2
program
months.
to help them make that personal breakthrough, but it includes the vision for their business and their life. And then beyond that, they could go, depending upon if they're launching a business or reshaping a new business, or if they need more of like an entrepreneurial mindset, then that could be ongoing.
Because a lot of business owners start a job just to have a job, right? All they're doing
Well, a
is
lot
just
of business
creating their own-
owners, the business owns them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They're I call them self-employed.
Right. So like
So they have a job working for
my
themselves.
mantra is, right, control your business before it controls you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So and that's exactly what happens. And NLP really teaches you. And look, it takes this long, that many sessions, and over that period of time, because it's not something. And this is what I found, because mine's a 12-week program. I have found that I can't teach it in 12 straight days and get it to sink in, because you have to teach a portion of it, then they have to go away, practice it, and do some things with it before they get that aha moment, right?
Right.
And that's when things start clicking. So don't look at this as, and this business owners, NLP is great. It helps you. And like you talk about the Tony Robbins thing where everybody's like, aha, and that. Those are real emotions. That's not just somebody goes, oh, this is phony hype that eventually will go away. If you do it properly and all of that stuff, you'll have those results. And you obviously are very good at it because you're making a living doing it.
Absolutely.
And then we anchor that in. So everybody wants that 5th part.
Yeah.
With the circle of excellence, they want that first.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But then it's just an empty emotion, and that does go away because it's not based on anything. It's not founded on anything real.
Right.
But when you have a solid vision in place and you've released the brakes by letting go of all the negative emotions and negative fears and negative decisions that were holding you back, and you discovered and fine-tuned your perfectly good decision strategy, and then you've created a plan of action that encompasses all areas of your life over short-term, mid-term, and long-term, then you add that state of mind.
Right.
That's like rocket fuel,
Mm-hmm.
So you know what direction the race car is heading in. You release the brakes. you've fine-tuned the steering,
Yep.
and you've programmed the GPS with all the steps along the way. Then you add that rocket fuel, and look out, world, here you come. You know,
Yeah.
that's that power behind it. And then the last part is just remove the roadblocks. Before people start, they know it's going to trip them up. I had a guy who was a stockbroker, and he says, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild my practice, or whatever you call it. And
His book of business.
Yeah, his book of business, exactly, yeah. So it had diminished, you know, a lot of his people had retired or like expired, if you know what I'm saying. So, you know, he lost a lot of clients, and he had to rebuild that. And he says, I'm willing to do whatever it takes except make cold calls. But what's the first thing anyone's going to tell them to do to build that book of business? Make cold calls, right?
Right.
So we did some hypnosis, and after the hypnosis, he goes, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm even willing to make cold calls. But here's the cool thing. Because he was willing to do it, he removed the roadblock. Guess what? He got 3 new clients that week, okay? And it was worth almost $2 million to him in business. And he didn't make one cold call. But it's because he was willing to make the cold calls that all of a sudden, like an old client came back to him. Someone that he knew from like a networking group had referred someone to him. And then, and then someone just called him out of the blue, I think, and became a client. So he didn't have to make any cold calls, but he was willing to do it.
So hopefully there'll be a bunch of people calling you out of the blue because it's that time.
Yeah.
So the hour is gone.
The hour is gone. We told you it was going to fly by, right?
Any final?
See, you guys, you know, time flies when you're having fun. You guys made this time fly.
Well, good. I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
Having me here.
Any final statements you'd like to make besides giving out your information again?
Well, my motto is that life is choice. So you make good choices, you live a good life. You make great choices, you live a great life. You know, and that's really it. So make a great choice. Send me an email at relax@nyih.org.
Beautiful. That worked out great. What a segue.
And I will send you an audio recording.
But come on, give me that. That was
create
good.
harmony in all areas of your life. If you want to call or text, you can reach us at 631-501-1406. That's 631-501-1406. I'm Mark Siegel in the York Institute of Hypnosis, helping you to relax, envision, and succeed.
I think he's going to have his own podcast.
He was really good. He was
there
really
you go.
good.
That was smooth.
Mark,
Brian taught me well.
Very nice.
Mark, we loved that you were on the show.
A great show tonight.
Guest.
Really
you know, we look forward to having you on again.
Yeah.
Don't go away. You
Don't
just
go away.
sit right over there. We're going to say goodnight now to everybody. Good night.
All right. So,
What a good show.
That was a good show.
I'm like in a different
Definitely was a good
place.
show. We had a little technical difficulties along the way, but
It's normal.
we got through it. You know, we learn as we go. But I'm so happy we had Mark in the studio tonight. What a great job! And
Super job.
So
Really,
what do you got coming
job.
up? Anything this week?
No, I'm not doing any shows until August. This is all promotion now, production, and getting some new groups and
Excellent.
filming them and whatever. And we're going to be on next Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget,
Tuesday
next
night.
Tuesday.
Not Wednesday.
Tuesday going forward.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Our new night. Tuesday.
Not Wednesday.
Not Wednesday.
Tuesday. So that's good.
So everybody have a great week. Stay safe, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Right here
Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
on the Business Power Hour.
See you, folks.